Admiral Lyra Moonwhisper stood on the command deck of the massive Zephyrian space station that orbited around Nexus Prime. Her long silver hair moved gently as she walked between the control panels. She had served the Galactic Empire for over 200 years and had seen many things in her long life as an elf. The command center was filled with the soft blue light from dozens of screens showing different parts of space around their territory. The Empire controlled most of the known galaxy. For 300 years, they had expanded their reach across star systems without meeting any real opposition. Every species they encountered was either too primitive to pose a threat or quickly agreed to join the Empire peacefully. Lyra had grown used to the quiet routine of monitoring empty space and managing trade routes between peaceful worlds. Commander Zara Stardust walked up to Lyra with a data pad in her hands. Zara was an Andromedan with bright blue skin and large dark eyes that seemed to see everything at once. She had been Lyra's second-in-command for 30 years, and they worked together like old friends. Zara looked at the readings on her pad with a confused expression on her face. "Admiral, we are getting some strange readings from Sector 7, Zara said as she handed the pad to Lyra. "The sensors are picking up something that should not be there." Lyra looked at the data and felt her pointed ears moved slightly as they always did when she was surprised. The readings showed a massive object that had appeared in empty space without any warning. There had been no hyperspace jump signature and no energy buildup that usually came before ships arrived in their territory. Whatever this thing was, it had simply appeared as if it had always been there. "Run a full scan of the area," Lyra ordered, as she moved to the main display screen. "I want to know everything about this object." The main screen lit up with an image that made everyone in the command center stop what they were doing. A huge warship hung in space like a sleeping giant. The design was unlike anything in their databases. The ship had smooth curved lines mixed with sharp angles that created a look that was both beautiful and threatening. Its hull was dark gray with patches of lighter metal that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Dr. Luna Silver, the station's chief scientist, rushed over to join them. Luna was a Lunarian with pale white skin and silver eyes that glowed softly in the dim light. She was known throughout the Empire for her knowledge of different alien species and their technologies. She stared at the screen with her mouth slightly open. "This is impossible," Luna whispered as she began typing commands into her console. "The ship's energy signature is completely unknown. The materials, the design, the power source, nothing matches anything we have ever seen before." Lyra felt a chill run down her spine. In all her years of service, she had never encountered anything that the Empire's vast databases could not identify. The Galactic Empire had records of every known species, every type of technology, and every ship design that existed in their part of the galaxy. This ship was a complete mystery. On board the unknown vessel, Captain Maya Rodriguez stood on her bridge, looking at the Elven space station through her own viewing screen. Maya was a human woman with dark hair tied back in a military style and brown eyes that showed both intelligence and determination. She wore a blue uniform with silver insignia that marked her as the ship's commander. The bridge around her was filled with other humans working at their stations with calm efficiency. Maya had been preparing for this moment for most of her adult life. She knew that when the UHS Defiance revealed itself to the Galactic Empire, everything would change forever. The human race had been watching the Empire from the shadows for decades, learning their strengths and weaknesses, studying their technology, and preparing for the day when they would announce their presence to the galaxy. "Captain, the alien. Station is running active scans on our hull," reported Lieutenant Commander Nina Walsh from the communications station. Nina was a young woman with red hair and green eyes who had trained for years to understand alien languages and communication methods. "Let them scan," Maya replied calmly. "They will not learn anything we do not want them to know. Our hull is designed to give them just enough information to be curious, but not enough to understand our true capabilities." Chief Engineer Amy Johnson looked up from her station and smiled. Amy was a tall woman with blonde hair who had helped design many of the Defiance's most advanced systems. "All stealth systems are functioning perfectly, Captain. They have no idea there are 12 other ships just like this one positioned throughout their territory." Maya nodded as she continued to watch the alien station. The humans had spent 50 years preparing for this first contact. They had developed technologies that were far beyond what the Empire possessed. But they had been careful to keep their existence secret until they were ready. Today was the day they would announce to the galaxy that humanity had arrived. Back on the Zephyrian station, Lyra was growing more concerned with each passing minute. The unknown ship had not responded to any of their communication attempts, but it had also not made any threatening moves. It simply hung in space like it was waiting for something. "Admiral," Zara said as she looked up from her console, "I am detecting massive energy reserves within that ship. The power readings are far beyond anything we thought was possible for a vessel of that size." Lyra made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. She activated the emergency communication system that would alert Imperial High Command to the presence of the mysterious ship. For the first time in 3 centuries, the Galactic Empire faced something completely unknown, and Admiral Lyra Moonwhisper knew that their peaceful expansion across the galaxy was about to come to an end. Admiral Lyra Moonwhisper decided to try one more time to contact the mysterious ship. She walked to the main communication console and activated the standard first contact protocols that the Empire had used successfully for hundreds of years. The message would be broadcast in Galactic Standard, the common language that all spacefaring civilizations in their territory understood. "Unknown vessel, this is Admiral Lyra Moonwhisper of the Galactic Empire Defense Force. Please identify yourself and state your intentions in our space. We wish to establish peaceful communication with your people." For several long minutes, there was only silence. Then, to everyone's surprise, a clear voice responded in perfect galactic standard, with only a slight accent that none of them could identify. "Admiral Moonwhisper, this is Captain Maya Rodriguez of the United Human Ship Defiance, representing the Terran Federation. We request permission to come aboard your station for diplomatic discussions. We come in peace and wish to establish formal relations with the Galactic Empire." Lyra exchanged glances with Commander Zara, who looked just as surprised as she felt. The beings on the ship called themselves humans and claimed to represent something called the Terran Federation. Neither name appeared in any of their databases, yet these humans spoke their language perfectly and seemed to understand diplomatic protocols. "Captain Rodriguez," Lyra responded, "we welcome peaceful contact with your people. However, we must follow standard security procedures. Please transmit your biological and technological specifications so our science teams can prepare appropriate accommodations." Dr. Luna Silver moved to her station and began preparing to receive the alien data. As the chief xenobiologist on the station, it was her job to analyze any new species they encountered and determine if they posed any biological threats to the Empire's citizens. Within minutes, the human ship transmitted a comprehensive data package that made Luna's silver eyes grow wide with amazement. The biological information showed that humans were remarkably similar to several species already known to the Empire, but with some important differences. They had shorter lifespans than elves, but longer than most other species. Their physical capabilities were impressive, showing high levels of strength, speed, and endurance that rivaled some of the Empire's most physically gifted races. "This is fascinating," Luna said as she studied the data. "These humans appear to be incredibly adaptable. Their biology shows they can survive in a wide range of environments that would be hostile to most species. They also have an unusual combination of intelligence and emotional resilience that I have never seen before." Captain Maya Rodriguez prepared to leave her ship for the diplomatic meeting. She wore her dress uniform, which was dark blue with silver, trim and displayed the insignia of the Terran Federation. Lieutenant Commander Nina Walsh would accompany her as the cultural and communications specialist. "Remember, Nina," Maya said as they walked toward the shuttle bay, "we want them to know. We are friendly, but also that we are not to be underestimated. Our people have been preparing for this day for decades." Nina nodded as she checked her translation device, even though she already spoke Galactic Standard fluently. "Understood, Captain. I have studied their cultural protocols extensively. The elves value directness and honesty, while the Andromedans appreciate technical precision. I believe we can establish a good foundation for future relations." On the station, Commander Zara was reviewing the technical specifications that the humans had provided about their shuttle. The data was detailed enough to show good faith, but Zara noticed that many of the more advanced systems were described in very general terms that did not reveal how they actually worked. "Admiral," Zara said quietly, "these humans are being very careful about what technical information they share. They are giving us enough data to ensure safe docking procedures, but they are not revealing any details about their more advanced technologies." Lyra found this behavior both smart and slightly concerning. Most species they had encountered in the past were eager to share their knowledge in exchange for access to imperial technology and trade networks. The humans seemed more cautious, as if they were evaluating the Empire rather than seeking to join it. The human shuttle docked with the station without any problems. Admiral Lyra, Commander Zara, and Dr. Luna met Captain Maya and Lieutenant Commander Nina in the main conference room. The room was designed to accommodate many different species, with adjustable seating and atmospheric controls that could be modified for various biological needs. Captain Maya Rodriguez was shorter than the elves, but moved with the confident bearing of an experienced military officer. Her dark eyes seemed to take in every detail of the room and the people in it. Lieutenant Commander Nina Walsh appeared younger, but had the alert look of someone who was analyzing everything she saw and heard. "Welcome to Station Nexus Prime," Admiral Lyra said formally. "We are honored to meet representatives of humanity for the first time." "The honor is ours, Admiral," Maya replied with a slight bow that showed respect without submission. "We have been looking forward to this meeting for a very long time." Dr. Luna leaned forward with scientific curiosity. "Captain Rodriguez, your species is completely unknown to our databases, yet you speak our language perfectly and seem familiar with our diplomatic customs. How is this possible?" Maya exchanged a quick look with Nina before answering. "Dr. Silver, humanity has been aware of the Galactic Empire for approximately 50 years. We have been monitoring your communication broadcasts and studying your civilization from a distance while we prepared ourselves for formal contact." Commander Zara felt her blue skin grow slightly darker, which happened when Andromedans were concerned or suspicious. "You have been watching us for 50 years without revealing yourselves. Why did you choose to make contact now?" Nina spoke for the first time, her voice calm and diplomatic. "Commander Stardust, we believe in the importance of preparation when making first contact with advanced civilizations. We wanted to understand your culture, your values, and your intentions before introducing ourselves. We also wanted to ensure that we could contribute meaningfully to galactic civilization rather than simply asking for assistance." Admiral Lyra was impressed by the humans' honesty, but she was also beginning to realize that these newcomers were far more sophisticated than most species the Empire had encountered. They had managed to study the Empire for decades without being detected, which suggested technological capabilities that might rival or even exceed Imperial standards. "Captain Rodriguez," Lyra said carefully, "what exactly does humanity hope to gain from establishing relations with the Empire?" Maya smiled, and her expression showed both friendliness and quiet confidence. "Admiral, we hope to establish a relationship of mutual benefit and respect. We believe that humanity has knowledge and capabilities that could be valuable to the Empire, just as we hope to learn from your centuries of experience in managing galactic civilization." The meeting continued for several hours, with both sides sharing basic information about their respective governments and territories. However, Admiral Lyra noticed that while the humans answered all their questions politely, they were very skilled at providing information without revealing anything truly important about their military capabilities or the extent of their territory. As the diplomatic session came to an end, Lyra realized that humanity's arrival might not be the simple addition of a new member species that she had initially expected. These humans were clearly intelligent, well-prepared, and possibly more powerful than they were revealing. The Galactic Empire was about to face its first real diplomatic challenge in 3 centuries. 3 days after the first diplomatic meeting, Admiral Lyra received an encrypted message from Imperial intelligence that made her blood run cold. The message contained information that changed everything she thought she knew about the humans and their mysterious arrival. Colonel Beth Thompson, the human strategic operations officer aboard the UHS Defiance, had been busy during those 3 days. Beth was a woman with short brown hair and sharp gray eyes who had spent 20 years gathering intelligence about alien civilizations. She had prepared a comprehensive briefing for Captain Maya about the true extent of human knowledge regarding the Galactic Empire. "Captain," Beth said as she activated a holographic display in the ship's briefing room, "our long-range reconnaissance operations have been more successful than the Empire realizes. We have detailed information about their military capabilities, trade routes, political structure, and defensive weaknesses." Maya studied the holographic maps that showed Imperial space in incredible detail. The humans had identified every major military installation, every fleet position, and every strategic resource in the Empire's territory. This was not the kind of information that could be gathered by simply monitoring communication broadcasts. "How did we acquire this level of detail without being detected?" Maya asked, even though she already knew the answer. "We have had stealth reconnaissance ships operating throughout Imperial space for the past 15 years, Beth replied. "Our technology allows us to remain completely invisible to their sensors while we conduct detailed surveys of their installations and fleet movements." Back on the station, Admiral Lyra was reading the intelligence report with growing alarm. Imperial spy networks had detected unusual energy signatures at several locations throughout their territory over the past few years. The signatures were so faint that they had been dismissed as background radiation or equipment malfunctions. Now, in light of the human arrival, intelligence analysts were re-examining those readings and reaching disturbing conclusions. Commander Zara joined Lyra in her private office to discuss the implications of the report. Zara's blue skin had taken on a darker hue that showed her concern about the situation. "Admiral, if this intelligence is correct, the humans have been conducting surveillance operations throughout our space for years without our knowledge," Zara said as she studied the data on her tablet. "They may know more about our military capabilities than some of our own officers." Dr. Luna Silver had been conducting her own analysis of the human biological data and had discovered some troubling inconsistencies. She requested a private meeting with Admiral Lyra to discuss her findings. "Admiral, there are aspects of human biology that do not match what they told us," Luna said, as she displayed her analysis on the wall screen. "Their genetic structure shows evidence of deliberate enhancement and modification. These are not natural evolutionary traits." Lyra felt her pointed ears twitch with concern. "What kind of modifications are you talking about, Doctor?" "Their physical capabilities have been enhanced beyond what natural evolution would produce," Luna explained. "Their strength, speed, endurance, and healing rates are all far beyond what their basic biology should allow. They have also modified their brains to process information faster and retain memories more efficiently." Lieutenant Commander Nina Walsh was conducting her own intelligence-gathering operation during her continued visits to the station. Nina had been trained to observe and analyze alien behavior patterns while appearing to engage in friendly diplomatic conversation. She had learned more about Imperial military procedures and political relationships in 3 days than the Empire had revealed about themselves in centuries of expansion. "The Empire's military structure is more fragile than they want to admit," Nina reported to Captain Maya during their daily briefing. "They have not faced a real military challenge in so long that their defensive procedures have become routine and predictable. Their officers are highly experienced in managing peaceful territories, but have very little actual combat experience." Maya was not surprised by this intelligence. Humanity had been preparing for the possibility that they might need to defend themselves against a hostile galactic civilization. They had studied the Empire's military history and had identified the weaknesses that came from centuries of unopposed expansion. "What about their political structure?" Maya asked. "How unified is their command system?" "Very centralized," Nina replied. "All major decisions flow through Imperial High Command on the capital world. This gives them good coordination, but also creates a single point of failure. If something happened to disrupt communication with the capital, their regional commanders would have difficulty coordinating their responses." The tension between the two sides began to increase when Admiral Lyra decided to test the humans' knowledge by asking specific questions about Imperial military capabilities. During their next diplomatic meeting, she posed questions that were designed to reveal how much the humans actually knew about the Empire's defenses. "Captain Rodriguez," Lyra said carefully, We are curious about how humanity plans to integrate into our existing trade and defense networks. Do you have any suggestions about how we might coordinate our activities? Maya's response made it clear that the humans knew far more than they should. She casually mentioned details about Imperial fleet positions, trade route security, and defensive installations that were classified information known only to high-ranking military officers. We believe our ships could be useful for patrol duties in the outer regions, Maya said. Our analysis suggests that sectors 12 through 18 could benefit from additional security presence, especially given the recent Krellin raider activity near the Vega trade routes. Lyra felt her heart skip a beat. The Krellin raider incidents were highly classified information that had not been shared with any civilian populations. The fact that the humans knew about these security problems meant they had access to Imperial military intelligence at the highest levels. Dr. Luna decided to confront Captain Maya directly about the inconsistencies in the human biological data. She requested a private meeting to discuss her concerns about the genetic modifications she had detected. Captain Rodriguez, our analysis of your biological data shows evidence of extensive genetic enhancement, Luna said bluntly. Your people have deliberately modified themselves far beyond their natural capabilities. Why did you not reveal this information during our initial discussions? Maya had expected this question and had prepared her response carefully. Dr. Silver, humanity has indeed enhanced our natural abilities through genetic therapy and cybernetic integration. We did not mention this initially because we wanted to establish basic diplomatic relations before discussing more complex topics. What other capabilities do your people possess that you have not yet revealed? Luna asked with growing concern. Maya's smile was friendly, but her eyes showed a hint of steel. Doctor, we have many capabilities that we have not yet discussed. We believe in sharing information gradually as trust develops between our peoples. Admiral Lyra realized that the humans were not the primitive newcomers she had initially assumed them to be. They were potentially the most dangerous species the Empire had ever encountered, not because they were hostile, but because they were so well prepared and informed. The Galactic Empire was facing its first real challenge in 3 centuries, and Lyra was not sure they were ready for it. The discovery that humanity had been secretly studying and surveying the Empire for decades changed the entire diplomatic situation. The humans were not seeking to join the Empire as junior partners. They were announcing their presence as equals who already knew all of the Empire's strengths and weaknesses. Admiral Lyra Moonwhisper began to suspect that the peaceful expansion of the Galactic Empire was about to come to an end. Empress Celeste Starweaver sat on her crystal throne in the Imperial Palace on Nexus Prime and read the reports from Admiral Lyra with growing anger. Celeste was an ancient elf who had ruled the Galactic Empire for over 800 years and had never encountered a species that dared to challenge Imperial authority. Her silver hair flowed like liquid metal, and her green eyes burned with the power she had accumulated over centuries of absolute rule. These humans think they can appear in our space and dictate terms to us, Celeste said to her council of advisors. They will learn that the Galactic Empire does not negotiate with unknown species who refuse to submit to our authority. The Empress sent an immediate message to Admiral Lyra, ordering her to demand that the humans surrender their advanced technologies and submit to Imperial rule. Any refusal would be considered an act of hostility that would be met with the full military force of the Empire. Admiral Lyra received the Empress's orders with a heavy heart. She had been hoping to find a peaceful solution that would benefit both civilizations, but the Imperial command structure was not designed to handle equals, only subjects. She called Captain Maya for an emergency diplomatic meeting. Captain Rodriguez, I have received orders from Imperial High Command, Lyra said when Maya arrived at the conference room. The Empire requires that humanity submit to Imperial authority and surrender your advanced technologies for analysis and integration into our defense systems. Maya's expression remained calm, but Admiral Lyra noticed that the human captain's brown eyes had grown colder. Admiral Moonwhisper, I appreciate your direct communication about your government's position. However, I must inform you that the Terran Federation will not submit to any external authority, nor will we surrender our technologies to any foreign power. Commander Zara leaned forward with concern. Captain Rodriguez, you must understand that the Galactic Empire has never encountered resistance to our expansion. We have the military capability to enforce our authority throughout this region of space. Maya smiled, but her expression was not friendly. Commander Stardust, I believe there may be some misunderstanding about the current situation. Perhaps it would be helpful if we demonstrated some of our defensive capabilities to avoid any unfortunate miscalculations. Captain Maya activated her communication device and contacted the UHS Defiance. Chief Engineer Amy Johnson, please prepare for a demonstration of our phase shift technology. We want our new friends to understand the full scope of our capabilities. Amy Johnson had been waiting for this moment for years. As the lead engineer who had helped develop the Defiance's most advanced systems, she was proud to show the galaxy what human technology could accomplish. All phase shift systems are ready, Captain. We can demonstrate our ability to pass through solid matter without causing any damage to the station. Admiral Lyra watched in amazement as the massive human warship began to move toward the space station. Instead of stopping at a safe distance, the ship continued to approach until it should have collided with the station's outer hull. Instead, the ship passed through the solid metal walls, as if they were made of air. This is impossible, Dr. Luna whispered as she watched the readings on her instruments. Their ship is occupying the same space as part of our station, but neither structure is being damaged. They have somehow altered the basic laws of physics. The UHS Defiance moved completely through the station and emerged on the other side without leaving any trace of its passage. The demonstration was so far beyond Imperial technology that the station's science staff could not even begin to explain how it worked. Captain Rodriguez, Admiral Lyra said with new respect in her voice, your technology is far more advanced than we realized. How many other capabilities do you possess that we have not yet seen? Maya activated her communication device again. Tactical Officer Lisa Brown, please demonstrate our defensive systems. Target the unmanned probe that Commander Stardust launched earlier, but use minimum power settings. Lisa Brown was a woman with black hair and blue eyes who had trained for years to operate the most sophisticated weapon systems humanity had ever created. She targeted the small probe that was floating several kilometers away from the station and activated a weapon that the Imperial forces could not detect or track. The probe simply stopped working. Its shields failed, its engines shut down, and its communication systems went silent, but the probe itself was completely undamaged. Lisa had used a weapon that could disable any technology without causing physical destruction. Commander Zara checked her instruments with growing alarm. Admiral, our probe has been completely disabled, but I cannot detect any energy weapon discharge from the human ship. Whatever they used to disable our probe is completely invisible to our sensors. Maya stood up and walked to the window that showed the space around the station. Admiral Moonwhisper, what your instruments cannot detect is that there are currently 12 other ships identical to the Defiance positioned throughout this star system. They have been here for several months, completely invisible to your detection systems. Admiral Lyra felt her pointed ears flatten against her head, which happened when elves were shocked or frightened. You have had 13 warships in our territory for months without our knowledge. Not just this system, Maya said calmly. We have ships positioned throughout Imperial space. Every major military installation, every fleet base, and every strategic resource in your territory is currently under observation by human forces. Dr. Luna realized the full implications of what the humans were revealing. You could have attacked us at any time over the past months, and we would have had no warning and no effective defense. Maya turned back to face the Imperial officers. Dr. Silver, we could have, but we chose not to. Humanity is not interested in conquest or destruction. We prefer cooperation and mutual benefit. Lieutenant Commander Nina Walsh activated a holographic display that showed the positions of human ships throughout Imperial space. The display revealed that humanity had positioned forces at every critical point in the Empire's defensive network. If they had chosen to attack, they could have crippled the Empire's military capabilities before Imperial forces even knew they were under assault. The question now, Maya said as she looked directly at Admiral Lyra, is whether the Galactic Empire is interested in establishing a relationship of mutual respect with humanity, or whether you prefer to attempt to enforce your authority against a civilization that is clearly capable of defending itself. Admiral Lyra understood that everything had changed. The Empire's military superiority, which had been the foundation, of their expansion for 3 centuries was suddenly irrelevant. The humans had demonstrated technologies that made Imperial weapons and defenses obsolete. Captain Rodriguez, Lyra said carefully, I believe this situation requires direct communication with Empress Starweaver. The decisions that need to be made are beyond my authority as a regional commander. Maya nodded with understanding. Admiral, I would be happy to speak directly with your Empress. However, I want to make it clear that humanity's position will not change regardless of what authority we are speaking with. We are willing to be friends and allies, but we will not be subjects. The demonstration of human technological superiority had completely changed the balance of power in the galaxy. For the first time in 8 centuries, Empress Celeste Starweaver would need to negotiate with someone as an equal rather than a subordinate. The age of unchallenged imperial expansion was over, and the Galactic Empire would need to learn how to coexist with a civilization that could not be conquered or intimidated. Admiral Lyra sent an urgent message to the imperial capital requesting immediate instructions on how to proceed with a species that possessed military capabilities far beyond anything the Empire had encountered. The peaceful routine of managing subordinate species was about to be replaced by the complex challenge of dealing with equals who could not be forced to submit to imperial authority. Empress Celeste Starweaver paced back and forth in her private chambers while reading the latest reports from Admiral Lyra. For 800 years, she had ruled the Galactic Empire without ever needing to consider the possibility that another civilization might be her equal. The humans had forced her to confront a reality she had never imagined. The Empire was no longer the most powerful force in the galaxy. Captain Maya Rodriguez waited in the Imperial communication chamber for her first direct conversation with the Empress. Maya had prepared for this moment by studying everything humanity had learned about imperial politics and the personality of their ancient ruler. She knew that the next few minutes would determine whether the galaxy would see a new era of cooperation, or a destructive conflict that neither side could truly win. Captain Rodriguez, Empress Celeste's voice came through the communication system with the authority of centuries of absolute power. You have placed the Galactic Empire in an impossible position. We cannot simply ignore your arrival or pretend that your presence does not threaten the stability we have maintained for 300 years. Maya's response was respectful, but firm. Your Imperial Majesty, humanity has no desire to threaten the stability of galactic civilization. We have spent 50 years studying your empire precisely because we wanted to understand how to integrate peacefully into the existing order without causing disruption. Then why did you reveal your military capabilities in such a dramatic fashion? Celeste demanded. Your demonstrations of superior technology could be seen as an act of intimidation designed to force us to accept your terms. Captain Maya had expected this question and had prepared her answer carefully. Your Majesty, we revealed our capabilities only after your government demanded our submission and surrender of our technologies. We wanted to make it clear that such demands were neither realistic nor necessary for establishing peaceful relations. Admiral, Lyra had been listening to the conversation and decided to speak up. Your Majesty, I believe Captain Rodriguez is being sincere about their peaceful intentions. The humans could have attacked us at any time over the past months, but they chose to reveal themselves through diplomatic contact instead. Dr. Luna Silver had been conducting additional analysis of human technology and culture and had reached some important conclusions about their intentions. She requested permission to address the Empress directly about her findings. Your Majesty, Luna said, my analysis of human culture and history suggests that they genuinely prefer cooperation over conquest. Their own historical records show that they have learned from the mistakes of civilizations that tried to rule through force alone. Commander Zara had been thinking about the strategic implications of the human arrival and had developed a new perspective on the situation. Your Majesty, perhaps we should consider that humanity's advanced capabilities could be an advantage for the Empire rather than a threat. This comment caught everyone's attention, including Captain Maya, who had been hoping someone in the Imperial government would reach this conclusion. Zara continued with her analysis. The Empire has grown complacent during our 3 centuries of peaceful expansion, Zara explained. We have not faced any real challenges or encountered any new technologies that could advance our civilization. Partnership with humanity could provide the stimulus we need to continue growing and improving. Empress. Celeste was quiet for several long minutes as she considered the implications of what her officers were telling her. She had built her power on the foundation of imperial superiority, but that foundation had just been shown to be weaker than she had believed. Captain Maya decided to make a proposal that she hoped would appeal to the Empress's practical nature. Your Majesty, humanity would like to offer the Galactic Empire a partnership based on shared knowledge and mutual benefit. We have technologies that could enhance imperial capabilities, and you have centuries of experience in managing galactic civilization that we could learn from. What exactly are you proposing, Captain Rodriguez? Celeste asked with cautious interest. Maya activated a holographic display that showed her proposal for a new type of interstellar relationship. We propose the creation of joint research projects where human and imperial scientists work together to develop new technologies that benefit both civilizations. We also suggest the establishment of cooperative defense agreements where our forces work together to maintain peace and security throughout the galaxy. Lieutenant Commander Nina Walsh added her own perspective to the proposal. Your Majesty, humanity has studied the history of galactic expansion, and we believe that cooperation between different civilizations produces better results than conquest or absorption. Dr. Luna felt her scientific curiosity overcoming her political concerns. Captain Rodriguez, the possibility of combining elven magical technologies with human engineering capabilities could lead to advances that neither of our civilizations could achieve alone. Admiral Lyra realized that Captain Maya was offering the Empire something it had not had for centuries, the opportunity to grow and learn rather than simply expand and control. Your Majesty, I believe this proposal offers us the chance to enter a new phase of galactic development that could benefit all the species in our territory. Empress Celeste made a decision that surprised everyone, including herself. Captain Rodriguez, your proposal is unlike anything the Galactic Empire has ever considered. However, the demonstration of your capabilities has made it clear that our traditional approaches may no longer be sufficient for managing galactic affairs. Over the following weeks, teams of human and imperial negotiators worked together to create what would become known as the Nexus Accords. The agreement established humanity as an equal partner in galactic civilization, rather than a subject species seeking admission to the Empire. Admiral Lyra found herself working closely with Captain Maya to establish the first joint military training programs. Both women discovered that they shared similar approaches to leadership and strategic thinking, despite coming from completely different civilizations. Captain Rodriguez, Lyra said during one of their planning sessions, I must admit that I initially saw your arrival as a threat to everything the Empire had built. Now I realize that you may have given us the opportunity to build something even better. Maya smiled with genuine warmth. Admiral Moonwhisper, humanity has always believed that the best civilizations are those that can adapt and grow. Your empire has achieved remarkable stability, but stability without growth eventually leads to stagnation. Dr. Luna and Chief Engineer Amy Johnson began working together on research projects that combined imperial knowledge of exotic materials with human understanding of advanced physics. Their collaboration produced innovations that neither species could have developed independently. The signing ceremony for the Nexus Accords took place on the space station where first contact had occurred. Representatives from dozens of species throughout the Empire attended to witness the historic moment when the galaxy gained its first equal partners in over 3 centuries. As Captain Maya and Empress Celeste signed the agreement that would reshape galactic civilization, human ships throughout Imperial space began dropping their stealth systems and revealing themselves. Instead of an invasion fleet, the galaxy saw the arrival of partners who had been quietly preparing to contribute to galactic society. Admiral Lyra stood beside Captain Maya as they watched the ceremony and realized that the galaxy had just entered a new age. The time of unchallenged imperial expansion was over, but it had been replaced by something potentially much better, an era of cooperation between civilizations that could learn from each other and grow together. The arrival of humanity had shocked the Galactic Empire, but it had also given them the greatest gift possible, the opportunity to become part of something larger than themselves. The galaxy would never be the same, and Admiral Lyra Moonwhisper believed it would be far better than anyone had dared to imagine.